So welcome, Earl, and I don't know where this is going to lead, or we're going to talk to other people down the road, but I know that your passion, sir, is Gunsmoke. So can you tell me a little bit about your history with the television Western Gunsmoke, and what is it about that particular program that appeals to you, that comforts you, that you look forward to?
Well, the love for Gunsmoke started with my mom. That was one of her favorite shows. And back in the day, there was only one television in the house, so you watch whatever the grown folks watched. You know. But I also grew up in an era, when Westerns were popular. So that wasn't the only Western, that I enjoyed, but that's the one that is on MeTV, it's on Inspire, it's on TV Land, And when I started, after I retired and I started, just channel surfing during the day, I found it and it was like, man, this takes me back to the days when the bills that came to my house didn't have my name on them, So that adds to the love, for the show.
Yeah.
I said I was like 5 or 6, when I started watching it, and then it became a habit, just because that's what my mom watched.
Right.
But then, as I got old and I started hanging the streets, I didn't even watch it anymore. So it's like some of these shows that I'm watching, episodes I'm watching now, I've never seen before.
Each week they brought in these guests, and the stories were always different. I don't recall, and maybe you can tell me if there was any one storyline that went on throughout the 20 years of that series, but it was always a different story told, and Matt, of course, was always involved.
Yeah, well, the one storyline that went throughout the show was, Miss Kitty and Matt's love relationship that they never actually acknowledged on air.
Yes.
Everybody talked about, every character, every storyline talked about, that's her man and all of that kind of stuff, but they never once acknowledged, that they had a thing going on,
Yeah, so it was sort of, like they had, like, thank you, Billy Paul. Like they had a thing going on.
Right.
Yeah. It was years. I didn't even think, think about what was Miss Kitty's occupation, what she did for us. She was just the proprietor of the Long Branch Saloon,
Right.
Yeah. As far as I know, Miss Kitty lived and go to church every Sunday too. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you never saw anybody go to church, unless it was for a wedding,
Yeah.
But the one thing about Miss Kitty, even though they talked about saloon girls, she was always viewed as an entrepreneur. She was never viewed as a saloon girl,
Yeah. Which was an interesting and empowering, I would guess, the mid 1950s on television, that you could have a woman in that position.
Oh yeah.
She was progressive. That was pretty, when you think about it. It may seem a little lame now compared to what you see on broadcast and cable television, but they were kind of pioneers. And to have those two main characters sort of looking at each other, but not touching each other, well, they were like Sam and Diane on Cheers.
Right, exactly. I guess the one thing, of course, I'm looking at it from 60 years back.
Yeah.
But it's like, where was the black folk? There were a few episodes that I've seen, and tracing through, there's one where the black boxer, and there were a couple of others, where a set of black nuns, but it's like during those days, post Civil War, as the freed slaves kept moving west, why none settled in Dodge City?
Think about how television networks were back in the 50s. Again, that could have changed somewhat as they got into the 60s and certainly into the early 70s. I think that show was around until 74, 75. And by that time, All in the Family had even been on the air for like 4 or 5 years. So really, the fact that there really weren't more representation of people of color in Dodge City is interesting. So this calls for a reboot, don't you think? This
Yeah, except everybody dead.
well, yeah, yeah, all those people are, but these are the children. So we have to bring in a whole new cast. So
yeah, like Miss Kitty and Matt's bastard children, right?
So you have the distinction of being the first one in the hot seat, sir.
Well, I am truly honored that you considered me, considering my mental state as you've referred to me, so you really took a risk not knowing how I was going to act.
Okay.
That's right. Hey, I even got dressed up.
Yes, you did. I want to give props to Abraham Lincoln High School with Mr. Earl Nero, is the class of 1968. The class of 1968. Who are some of your classmates in the group, by the way?
In the group, Betty Gillett Brent.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really not sure, because every once in a while somebody will respond to something that I said, but like Furbin Potter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a classmate.
Yeah. So, but you have many schoolmates, obviously, in the group.
Oh yeah, and a lot of classmates I invited to join, but I haven't gone through the through the member list to see how many classmates are actually there.
Because you know what? Those teachers ruled back in the day. Then you grow up and you figure they're just regular people. I don't know how they did it.
Oh, it was. I think a lot of it was, love for us as people, and the desire to give us opportunities that they did not have. Yeah, 65 was the year that they started freedom of choice, and folks started leaving Lincoln and going to TJ.
Yeah.
But, those teachers that we had, and my peers, we talk about it all the time. They never gave up on us. They made sure that we had what we needed to succeed.
Yeah.
Mr. Levy, Mrs. Simpkins, who was Mrs. Moss at the time that she, after I left.
Yeah.
Mr. Freeman, Spooner,
Yeah.
Joe Sastry. I mean, the list goes on, and And I'm going off on a tangent. I know that this was not what I was, invited for, but it was a thing where, and this is one of my soapbox issues in terms of the degradation of Black education in Port Arthur was integration. When they started bringing the young, inexperienced white teachers into Lincoln and moved the experienced teachers from Lincoln to TJ and Stephen F. Austin. And those young teachers were easily intimidated because they had the stereotype, of what, Black students were. So, kids, basically, they just intimidated them, right? They decided they wasn't going to do anything. And instead of the teacher taking control of the class, they sort of let them go, where Miss Miller was boy, you better sit down. And sit there and be quiet. If you don't want to learn, you sit down and be quiet, kind of an approach.
Well, you know what, Earl, thank you for making this just top of my head, because I didn't think of this until late morning. Much fuller, richer, putting some additional Port Arthur context into this, and because I like not having a script.
Yeah. I'm the same way. I am exactly. Yeah. But again, thank you for thinking of me. And I know this project is going to be the bomb. I can't wait to see it.
Neither can I. I can't wait to look. I can't, because I'm going to start right now. As soon as I click off, I'm going to start right now and start some editing and see where this goes. So, it'll be enjoyable, and it'll be a time capsule. And I hope to do more of these. And I hope to talk to you again, Earl. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, man. Take care now. Have a good day. Bye.